want to welcome you to another episode of the Southern Gal's Kitchen. We've been doing a lot of baking shows lately, but I've been doing more videos with einkorn flour, and so we'll talk about more of that in just a minute. But today we're going to make Einkorn Oatmeal Blueberry Muffins. They are fantastic. We're going to mix up. Muffins are just dry ingredients and wet ingredients. You're going to worry about getting the mixer out. Now you can make your own all-purpose einkorn flour by grinding the grain and sifting out. I have a fine sifter, 50 mesh, sifting that out into an all-purpose flour. But you need to be able to, one, grind it fine. I set mine on one on my grinder, which makes it almost like a pastry flour, and then I sift it in the 50 mesh. That takes a little work. I don't always get that done. I like to sift out, grind my einkorn or whatever grain I'm using, sift it out, and then I like to put it in a bag in the freezer and keep it and have it on hand. But I don't always get it done, and I will buy the all-purpose einkorn because I know that's what most people do. You just have to know that while the high extraction, they do only take out 20% of the bran, but that flour, because it's been sitting on shelves, can go rancid within 24, 48 hours. It should be refrigerated. But again, sometimes it's all we have on hand. I like to put in some whole grain, just to put some of that fiber, whole grain goodness back in there. The whole grain einkorn flour is very nutritious. If you cooked with it at all or done any research on it, it's one of the most nutritious flours. Well, it may be the most nutritious flour. A lot of people, including me, use einkorn because it's easier to digest. I personally have trouble digesting very much of the modern wheat because of the high gluten. The einkorn does not bother me. I like spelt flour. It's an ancient grain too. And I wrote a book one time on einkorn, spelt, and quinoa. And I'm writing another book now to update. I'm not sure if I'm going to focus just on einkorn or maybe again on ancient grains, but we'll see. This one's going to be probably more of a baking book. The other one has other recipes, and I'm going to make more of those other recipes in my book because there's a lot of good dishes that you can do with using einkorn. For the purpose of this video, we're going to be making our blueberry oatmeal muffins. These are probably some of the best muffins you'll ever eat. Everybody that eats them just loves them, and I love them. I have trouble, eat too many is a problem. I'm going to take some of these to my son and his family, and then I'll put what's left in the freezer other than just maybe two left out for us to eat, because if they're sitting out, I have a hard time keeping my hands off of them. They're so good. They're pretty nutritious though, with your oats and your einkorn and even the sugar that I use. And if you watch my videos, you know I mix up a big jar, half a gallon jug, half sugar and half of an alternative sweetener that I like to use. I mix it up in a bowl, use a whisk, get it really mixed. Then I'll put it into my jar with a candy jar funnel. That way I've got plenty of it on hand. And I'll do the brown and I'll do the white. To use cane sugar, but again, you can use plain sugar if you want to. It doesn't have that much sugar. We got our 1 cup of all-purpose einkorn, 1 cup of just old-fashioned rolled oats, not the instant oats. Of our sugar, mine's half sugar, and it makes about 12 nice muffins. So not much sugar because the rest of it's alternative. So I'm going to put that in there too. Powder, half a teaspoon of salt, and half a teaspoon of baking soda. So we've got all of our dry stuff in here. These out of the way. I have my oven preheated to 400 and have my muffin tins with them. And you know your muffin tins, I have some that are deeper than others. Some are not as deep. If I have any left over, like I'll make 12, and this is not the deeper ones, I have a muffin top pan. I love muffin tops. I'll make the rest of mine in muffin tops. You could do them all into muffin tins. Aren't as deep. You might make more than 12. Ingredients, we have 1 egg that's been beaten, 1/2 cup of butter. We can pour hot melted butter in with that egg. 1/2 cup of whole milk that I used. Whole milk works best. We don't drink whole milk. We use soy, and I did these many times with soy milk, which is organic. Since I had the milk and I had them in the freezer, I had drained them. I've been draining for a while. Them up in there when they've been in the freezer. Very easy. fiber because you're adding some whole ground einkorn, and then oats have fiber. But it's a healthy recipe. Okay, you just mix this up with a spoon so they're just the flours incorporated into the wet into the dry, basically. And that's really simple, easy. These are nice for breakfast. They're nice too if your kids like kind of an oatmeal in their muffin. It'd be good for kids in their school lunches, their lunchbox. They're very filling, not like just a muffin made with just sugar and modern day wheat that's often had everything nutritious taken out of it and a few synthetics put back in. It's kind of sad, really. But you know, they modernized wheat to feed the masses. It's more expensive for them to raise the ancient grains because ancient grains don't produce as much and they take special processing. So you are going to pay a little bit more for einkorn, but people are using it. I mean, it's very, very popular these days. And I personally think it's an amazing flour. Okay. We're going to take our little scoop, and I like to put, these are small, I don't know, that may be a tablespoon. It's a real small ice cream scoop. So I'm going to put 2 in there. Even them out. Then we'll bake them 400 degrees for 20 minutes. And they're going to be ready to eat. We want to cool them just a little bit. They're really good. Exactly 12 in this size muffin tin. They're not real deep. The other day I made them in a bigger one and it made 11, so just kind of judge it by that. This is just raw cane sugar. I like to sprinkle just a little bit on the top of each one. Not heavy, just light, because I don't really want all that sugar, but that little extra crunch on there really does make them really good. These recipes came from my book. I used 100% all whole grain einkorn flour. You can make them that way. They're going to be just a little heavier, but I want to tell you something, they're still really good. If you want that extra nutrition with 100% whole grain einkorn, go for it because they're good that way too. These are just a little bit lighter and they're still very nutritious. But they are just a little bit, you know, whole grain's going to make things a little bit heavier, obviously. But I don't think you'll be disappointed in them. So we will bake these off. Einkorn just has so much what's high nutrition. It's B vitamins, zinc, copper, iron, magnesium, high in lutein. There's about 26 nutrients in there. It's nutrients that our bodies need. And so we're missing a lot of that in our diets. And people are eating way too much fast food. They're not cooking their own food. They often don't know. When you buy food, you don't really know what goes in it. A lot of times they'll flavor it. Sourdough bread, for example. They'll just add up sourdough flavoring in there. It's not real. They call it fake sourdough. So there's a lot of fake food out there. Learn to make your own. These can be made up so quickly. Make a double batch, put them in your freezer, and you've got them when you need them. We'll come back and taste in just a little bit. These look good. Oven, and they look really, really good. They are good. They're delicious. It's just a really pretty way to serve them. It made really nice size muffins. They're not going to rise up real tall, but they're really good. This one's probably the tallest one, but they're really good. But I want to show you the inside of these. Let me cut one open for you. I've let these cool about 10, 15 minutes. And by then you can take the papers off. You can take them right out. All the garbage do. Cut this in half. Inside. A blueberry. Full of blueberries and goodness. Just plain. I always like butter on muffins. This is softened butter I had out. I don't know why. They're delicious without any butter. I like butter on. There is nothing better than the flavor of muffins made with einkorn. It just gives things a better taste, it's more nutrition, it's easier to digest. What's not to like about it? They are delicious. Hope you give these a try. See you on the next show. Bye-bye.